Walmart's role as a dominant force in American retail is underscored by its monopsony power, the ability to act as the primary buyer of labor in many local markets. This status gives the company a unique influence over wage standards and working conditions, often setting the baseline for what other employers in the area can offer. In more than a third of the counties where Walmart operates, it stands as the largest private employer, a position that enables it to shape the economic environment for thousands of workers and businesses. This influence is not simply theoretical. It is reflected in measurable changes to local economies. When Walmart enters a community, its sheer scale allows it to dictate pay rates that competitors must match or risk losing their workforce. The outcome is a ripple effect that extends far beyond Walmart's own payroll. A comprehensive study tracking 92 new supercenter openings found that, within 5 years, retail wages in affected counties declined by an average of 6%. This downward pressure was not limited to Walmart's own employees. Competing grocery stores, hardware shops, and pharmacies reduced their starting pay by as much as 8% to remain viable, while restaurants and service businesses in the same areas cut wages by 4.5%. The effect is not isolated to retail. It spreads to other sectors as local wage benchmarks shift in response to Walmart's presence. The consequences of this wage suppression are significant. The same study documented an 8% rise in poverty rates in communities following a Walmart opening, with rural areas experiencing even steeper increases. This is attributed to several factors. Local businesses closing and their owners becoming hourly workers, full-time jobs being replaced with part-time positions, and depressed wages leading to lower household incomes. In these areas, the economic fabric of the community changes. USDA data shows that participation in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, climbs 13% in zip codes with Walmart supercenters, compared to demographically similar areas without them. As more workers find themselves earning less, reliance on public assistance grows, and the cycle of poverty deepens. Walmart's leadership often points to the benefits it brings to local economies. The company's 2025 Community Impact Report highlights the creation of $18 million in annual local wages and $9.2 million in tax revenue per store. Corporate-sponsored studies emphasize the consumer savings generated by Walmart's low prices, estimating that households save an average of $1,247 each year. While these savings are real, economists caution that the benefits are not evenly distributed. Higher-income families, who can afford to buy in bulk and take advantage of promotions, tend to capture a larger share of these savings. Meanwhile, low-wage workers, many of whom are directly affected by wage suppression, bear the brunt of the negative impacts. The mechanics of Walmart's monopsony power become clear in local case studies. In Dalton, Georgia, the arrival of a new Walmart in 2019 coincided with a 7.8% drop in retail wages across Whitfield County by 2024. Local hardware stores, previously paying $15 an hour, reduced their starting offers to $12.50 to compete. The closure of 3 family-owned grocers eliminated nearly 100 jobs that paid an average of $17 per hour, replaced by over 100 Walmart positions averaging 32 hours per week at $14.50. Walmart's claims of a $200 million economic impact for the region did not account for these substitutions or the shift in job quality. The long-term effects are visible in community financial health. A Federal Reserve study of 12 towns with new Walmart stores found that commercial property values in business districts near supercenters declined by 22% over 5 years, as local businesses shuttered and retail activity consolidated. Sales tax revenues, which often spiked by 15% immediately after a Walmart opening, eventually plateaued at levels below pre-opening projections. The most enduring change was in entrepreneurship. Small business formation rates slowed by 18% compared to control communities, suggesting a lasting deterrent to local investment and innovation. Walmart's power as a buyer extends beyond labor to its relationships with suppliers. The company's vast purchasing volume enables it to dictate terms to small and medium-sized vendors, often forcing them to accept lower margins in exchange for access to Walmart's shelves. For example, Mount Olive, a regional pickle producer, found that Walmart quickly became its largest customer, accounting for 28% of sales. However, The price concessions demanded by Walmart reduced Mount Olive's margins by 40%, pushing the company to cut costs, often through layoffs or reduced hours. Economic models suggest that for every $1 million in cost-cutting driven by Walmart's supplier demands, approximately 1.8 local jobs are lost, compounding the effect of wage suppression on the broader community. The broader economic consequences are substantial. As Walmart consolidates its position as the leading employer and purchaser in a region, other businesses struggle to compete. Over time, this can erode the local tax base, reduce consumer spending, and diminish the overall economic vitality of the area. Public services suffer as property and sales tax revenues decline, and communities may experience a reduction in the quality of infrastructure, schools, and health services. The loss of independent businesses also means less local decision-making and a diminished sense of community identity. One of the most visible hidden costs of Walmart's low-wage model is the burden it places on public assistance programs. Research from the University of California, Berkeley, estimates that Walmart employees rely on $6.2 billion annually in public benefits, including Medicaid, housing assistance, and SNAP. This figure reflects the fact that many Walmart workers, despite being employed full-time, do not earn enough to meet basic living expenses. The impact is not limited to Walmart's direct employees. As the company's wage standards become the norm in a local market, workers at other businesses may also find themselves qualifying for public assistance, multiplying the cost to taxpayers. Labor market dynamics change under monopsony conditions. In a competitive market, workers can leverage offers from multiple employers to negotiate for better pay and conditions. In communities dominated by Walmart, that leverage disappears. Bureau of Labor Statistics data indicates that wage growth for retail workers in these markets lags nearly 3 percentage points behind the national average. Quit rates are lower, by about 19%, not because workers are more satisfied, but because alternative employment options are scarce. The result is a labor market where mobility is limited, bargaining power is weak, and wages remain stagnant. The savings that Walmart delivers to consumers are real, but come with trade-offs. Households near Walmart stores spend nearly 6% less on groceries, but aggregate annual income in these areas drops by about 3% due to wage suppression. For families with two earners in affected sectors, this means that annual savings at the checkout are often outweighed by losses in earnings. Lower-income households are hit hardest, as they spend a greater share of their income, over 60%, on Walmart-affected categories like food and household essentials. The balance between consumer benefit and worker cost is a central tension in Walmart's business model. Some local governments have attempted to address the effects of monopsony power. In Ohio, several towns now require labor impact statements for new big-box developments, forcing retailers to demonstrate that their presence will not depress wages below federal poverty guidelines. Washington state passed a law in 2025 that bans employers controlling over a quarter of local retail jobs from qualifying for tax incentives, though Walmart challenged the law in court. These efforts reflect growing awareness of the need to balance economic development with protections for workers and small